The stars are arriving for the 55th Annual Academy Awards to the blinding glare of flashbulbs. And the critics are arriving, too. Gene Siskel arrives at the ceremony and tips the driver lavishly. And as the block-long limousines pull up, a subway train longer than a limousine delivers Roger Ebert. No one knows who will win this year's Oscars, but Siskel and Ebert know who they would choose. Join them in a special At the Movies presentation, Siskel and Ebert If We Pick the Oscars. Siskel and Ebert give their choices for the Oscars in a special At the Movies presentation. Siskel and Ebert, If We Pick the Oscars. Coming up, Siskel and Ebert, If We Pick the Oscars.
I don't know, Gene, with the price of limos the way it is these days, you might as well just take the train.
I agree.
The biggest night of the year in show business, the annual Academy Awards. And on this special edition of At the Movies, we're going to be telling you who would win this year's Oscars if we were the ones who made the decisions. And across the aisle from me, Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And across the aisle from me, Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. Now, critics aren't among the lucky 4,000 people who do get to fill out an Oscar ballot each year. So therefore, this is sort of a fantasy show for us, who we would vote for if we had a ballot. We're going to be giving you our preferences as critics in the major acting categories, followed by the big one, our choice for the Best Picture of 1983. We filled out our secret ballots. We'll be opening them category by category and arguing about them. And unlike the Oscar telecast, we don't mess around with minor awards. First, we get right into it. Roger begins with the nominees for Best Actor in a Leading Role.
Gee, first I thought we'd have a musical number with you tap dancing into the balcony.
No, we won't.
First, let's introduce the nominees, then we'll make our selections. The first nominee for Best Actor this year is Michael Caine, who played an alcoholic British literature professor in Educating Rita.
Poetry. Literature. What does it benefit a man if he gaineth the whole of literature and loseth his soul?
I think what I like best about that performance there is that he's lost all of his dignity in terms of the class and their relationship to him, but not in his own mind, because in his own mind he's still got this denial going on that he's a wonderful romantic character.
I thought he did just a fine job. I didn't think it was anything that special. Just fine. I couldn't fault the performance. Didn't make it sing, though.
I don't think he's going to get your vote then. A British movie named The Dresser won 2 Best Actor nominations this year. One for Albert Finney as an aging Shakespearean actor, and one for Tom Courtenay as his long-suffering personal assistant. And in this scene, Courtney learns that Finney may be too sick to perform tonight, and he has an argument with both the stage manager and the actor's wife.
Please, your ladyship, I had a friend. Before one's face was lined, as the saying goes, in a very low state he was, ever so fragile, a pain to be with. Someone close to him, his mother, I believe, though it was never proved, understandably upset, made a decision. A little rest, she said, among those similarly off-centre in Colwyn Bay. Never a good date, not in February, wrapped in a grey rug, gazing at a grey sea. Talk about bleak. Mother dear made a decision, but it was the wrong decision. My friend never acted again.
Now, the great thing there is the modulation for Courtney, because what he's trying to do is assert himself through this guy who he worships. In other words, it's not so much Courtney saying, this is the way it's got to be, or this is the way I hope it's going to be, as Sir can do it, and I'll live through him.
He did a very good job, and it's a tricky role. Sometimes I thought he was being too mechanical. I thought he was just reciting those lines. He's played it on stage so long, maybe that's why it seemed a little mechanical for me.
Well, the other actor in that movie was Albert Finney, and here he is as that legendary Shakespearean in The Dresser, auditioning an actor for the role of the fool in King Lear.
You know the lines?
Yes.
Don't keep me waiting for them. Let me hear you sing.
What?
He that has a little tiny wit.
He that has and a little tiny wit, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, must make content with his fortunes fit, for the rain it raineth every day.
All right, speak it, don't sing it.
There you have the sort of performance that actors love to do, in which they get to disguise themselves as somebody totally unlike themselves. He's an old guy, 20 years older than he is in real life. He's broken down, yet there's this nobility and this fierce fire that keeps coming out.
There's a lot going on there. Plus, he's so darn smart, too, and he's manipulating this guy. He's got to get the show on. He's the road manager to the star. He's the whole show.
It's a good performance. The fourth British actor to be nominated this year, 4 out of the 5 were British, was Tom Conti, who plays an alcoholic Scottish poet in Reuben Reuben. He's a poet in residence on an American campus where in this scene he gets drunk, he gets in a fight, and then he argues with his girlfriend.
Do you suppose that I think less of you because you can't fight?
Can't fight? Cannot bloody fight, you bastard! I'll have you know that I'm known in half the pubs in London and most of the counties of Scotland as being one of the greatest barroom brawlers of modern times. Cannot bloody fight!
Now, once again, there, what you get is a modulation between what seems to be the case and what the actor knows is the case. And here, in the case of this character, even though he plays this wonderful, wild, romantic sort of figure, underneath he's scared, he's despairing, and we see that later in the film.
Yeah, I wish we'd seen it earlier on, because one of the problems with this movie, for me, is that he is so unlikable so early on that I didn't care that he turns around at the end and recognizes what trouble he is in. I wish we'd seen that sooner.
The fifth nominee, and the only American in the Best Actor category, is Robert Duvall. He plays a broken-down country singer who used to be a star, but now he's just happy to have a job at a roadside motel and gas station.
You've been a real inspiration to us all.
That's most gratifying to hear.
When are you going to start singing again, sir?
I'm not going to start singing again, son. I've lost it.
You don't miss singing?
No. Oh, I miss some things, but I don't miss a lot of it. So, maybe we'll come listen to you some night.
Now, I don't think there's another actor in the movies who's better than Robert Duvall at playing that kind of proudful shyness. He knows who he used to be. He knows his history as well as those kids do. At the same time, he knows what has happened to him since. And that restraint and dignity there and the way he holds back is really part of the whole performance.
Restraint is absolutely it. He is great in non-verbal performances. He doesn't need a lot of dialogue to reveal his character. The only guy in his class in that kind of country character, Gene Hackman maybe, but they're in a class by themselves, those two.
Yes, they are.
Let's
Well,
get to the ballots.
What we have here are these secret envelopes, secret at least from me, although
this is my choice in your envelope.
This is.
We can't afford good envelopes. That's my choice. This is going to be a surprise
Best
to you.
Actor, and Gene's selection is Albert Finney in The Dresser.
That's who I'd vote for if I had a ballot, and this was my toughest choice of all the categories. I really agonized between Robert Duvall and Albert Finney on this one, but I'm casting my ballot, if I had one, for Albert Finney in The Dresser, because I thought he did something extraordinary in a role that in lesser hands could have been all gimmicks and no heart. Albert Finney could have played this aged theatrical star as just a buffoon, as an imperious, no-talent jerk who treats everyone, especially his dresser, his valet, like a paper towel. Instead, Albert Finney shows us the cleverness, the artistic impulse that made his character a star in the first place. And in this scene, where Finney auditions a young woman to play the role of Cordelia in King Lear, we really see his artistry. He's going to have to carry an actress on stage in this scene. He doesn't want to use his wife. She's too heavy. She normally plays the role. So he uses a very clever way of auditioning this young woman for this critical part.
And you want to act?
Yes.
Passionately?
Yes.
To the exclusion of all else?
Yes.
You must be prepared to sacrifice what most people call life.
I am.
Have you good legs? There's not much to you. So young. So young. That's more like it.
That is fabulous because there's so much going on there. He's actually giving a performance in front of her that she doesn't have a clue what's going on. And as I watched that and I'm looking at that screen there, I didn't think that was Albert Finney under that makeup. And I can't believe that's Albert Finney under that makeup.
And it's so much fun to be in the audience and know what he's thinking, which is so young and so light.
Yeah. We watched that scene at the first. We think he's coming on, of course, to her sexually. Only later do we realize, just what Roger says, he wants to see how much she weighs. And Finney plays it both for laughs and also to show his cunning. Finney gets my vote among the nominees as the best actor of 1983.
Well, he would get my vote in certain other years. I think it's a really good performance, and it's one of those great British theatrical performances where it's like the role that Olivia used to like to play, where there's so much makeup on, you really need a program to know who the actor is.
Absolutely. All right, let's see. Maybe
I agree with you.
No,
and
you
then
didn't.
Again,
obviously, you
maybe
didn't.
I don't.
I think I heard you say in another year. Now, if I can do this.
I guess I did give it away, didn't I?
Well, it's somebody else. I think
Maybe
I know
we should
who
get you
it
a
is.
paper cutter then. Really clever with your
Oh,
hands.
yes, here it is. Robert Duvall, Tender Mercies.
right,
Not a bad choice.
That's right, it's Robert Duvall, and I think that Duvall should win not only because he gives a great performance in Tender Mercies, which he definitely does, but because he's the only one of the 5 nominees this year who's required to play a character who actually goes through fundamental changes on the screen instead of just being fixed at the beginning and staying that way for the whole movie. At the beginning of Tender Mercies, Duvall is a drunk who fights another man for a bottle. He's an alcoholic, but by the end of the film, he stopped drinking and regained his self-respect. And the way that Robert Duvall gets from the beginning to the end of this movie is a lesson in acting. Look at this scene. It takes place late at night, and Duvall's character has gotten mad. He's walked out and disappeared on the widow who has given him a job, and she loves him. She thinks he went out and started drinking again, and he tells her what he actually did.
I'm not drunk. I bought a bottle, but I poured it all out. I'm not drunk.
Do you have anything to eat?
No,
Are you hungry?
I guess so.
Let me get you something. What do you want to eat? I made some soup today. You want me to heat it up?
A little soup will do me. I rode by here 6 or 7 times. I can see y'all sitting here watching TV. See me ride by?
No.
I rode all over town tonight. Started twice for San Antonio, turned around, came back. Started for Austin, started for Dallas. Turned around, came back.
I talked about the fact that he changes in this movie. Another interesting thing about the performance is how controlled that change is. It's a very low-key performance, and the other actors nominated this year, with the sometimes exception of Michael Caine, are playing histrionic acting-type roles of one way or another, the sort of role that an actor feels he can really get his teeth into.
Yeah.
This is the kind of role that has to come from inside, and a lot of it has to come from the audience that can see and sense what's going on in this character. And Duvall, who can, in some movies, play a really broad, loud guy like in Apocalypse Now, in this movie, it's wonderful.
I appreciate his accent, believe it or not. I think this is, you know, Finney's got the makeup to work with and a lot of technique there. Duvall has an accent, and you know, this isn't Rich Littletime where if he just does it Southern, that's okay. Because he's got a very familiar face, he isn't wearing makeup, and yet we buy the character through the accent. It could be thrown off completely if we were saying, oh, that's Robert Duvall talking like a Texan or something. He's very good at that. The only reason that I'm picking Finney over him, and I tell you, I mean, this is when it gets kind of silly at Oscar time and you know, and all this balloting. The only reason I'm picking Finney is that I thought there was increasingly more going on than I saw when I saw the picture for the first time. I just thought he had a whole bunch of different things to think about. Everything from the makeup to fooling different people to running the whole show.
Well, here's another reason why I would pick Duvall, and that's because he's one of those characters in the movie who, after the movie is over, you think about his life continuing and you wonder what's going to happen to him next. And that sort of continuity, of course, is impossible for a variety of reasons with the Finney character.
Well, sure, and it's in the nature of the script too, in the play. That's a life goes on kind of picture, Tender Mercies. Well, coming up next at the movies, our choice for the best actress of the year.
It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun. Big, fluffy bun. It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
This is Rubbermaid's revolutionary new Smooth and Easy, the mistake-proof shelf liner. And I'm going to line this shelf with it while crossing a Baja. Smooth and Easy needs no water. Just smooth it down, and it sticks. The tough spots, lift it up, smooth it down. Go off the edge, lift it up, smooth it down again. Smooth and Easy. Oh, the perfect shelf liner.
Don't you wish everything was made like Rubbermaid?
Dorothy Hamill, is that your new Ford Tempo?
Sure is.
How come a world champion went for a Tempo?
Well, I appreciate precision, and Tempo handles beautifully.
Handles well, huh?
Yes, and Tempo's front-wheel drive is terrific in snow and ice.
I guess you know about ice.
A little. And I like Tempo's smooth, flowing lines. Very European.
You know that Tempo's now outselling all the imports in America?
Doesn't surprise me at all.
Dorothy, is it hard to drive with your skates on?
Tempo, designed to do everything a modern car should. It just looks better doing it. Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
It stands toweringly tall on jagged rocks by the foamy splash of a stream. The Black Tower. Black Tower. The imported white wine in the black bottle. Silky smooth, delicate. Black Tower. In each glass, the glittering and golden heart of grapes from the land of the Rhine. Silky, supple, superbly refreshing, chilled. Black Tower. The white wine in the black bottle.
This past year was a big year for performances by actresses. There were more good roles for actresses, actually, than actors, and that's a real turnabout for Hollywood. And this is reflected in the quality of the nominees this year. English actress Julie Walters was nominated for playing a working-class hairdresser named Rita, turned on to literature in Educating Rita. A phony theatrical role, I think, but done very well.
Last night, Frank, I went to the theatre.
My God, I thought it was something serious.
It was. It was Shakespeare.
Rita, I thought something had happened to you.
Something did happen to me. It was fantastic. Look, Macbeth it was. I bought the book. Oh, it done my head in. I thought it was going to be dead boring, but it wasn't. It was electric. Wasn't his wife a cow?
Our next nominee, Shirley MacLaine, a Hollywood veteran nominated for playing a wealthy widow who is Deborah Winger's tyrannical mother in Terms of Endearment.
I'm unofficially pregnant. I mean, we haven't gotten the test back yet, but you know me, I'm never late.
Well, now I don't understand.
If you're not happy for me, I'm gonna get so mad if you're not happy.
Why should I? Why should I be happy about being a grandmother?
Our next nominee, Deborah Winger, who played Shirley MacLaine's equally feisty daughter, played her so well in Terms of Endearment. Here's a scene where the daughter finally cuts the cord and moves away from home with her husband and children.
Okay, fingers and toes in. Take Mama's purse. Mama, that's the first time I stopped hugging first.
And just to prove how strong a year it is, not much attention has been paid to another superior performance by Meryl Streep in Silkwood as nuclear fuel worker Karen Silkwood.
These don't look like antihistamines to me.
Winston, these are little tiny time capsules. Like the ones you see on TV. They clear up your nasal passages for up to 12 hours straight. Excuse me.
God bless you.
And the final nominee, Jane Alexander, playing a mother trying to hold her family together in the face of nuclear disaster in Testament.
We would fight. We wouldn't listen to each other. We'd miss thoughts. We'd miss goodbyes. But sometimes, most times, there was this feeling, and I couldn't wait for him to be here with me.
I'm not a big fan of this movie or of her performance, no matter how sincere that scene is supposed to be. I found this whole project just a little bit too TV weepy, and Jane Alexander, a fine actress, did really not make it much better than that.
Well, here we have a very basic disagreement, and we had the same disagreement when we reviewed the movie on our program. I think it was a very, very good movie, one of the year's best, and that her performance is so good for a lot of reasons, and one of them is because in the movies we do sometimes get tenderness in love stories, but so rarely do you see the kind of tenderness of a mother toward her child that she has for her, especially for her little boy, and a couple of scenes
I saw it in terms of endearment, but I see it more often in TV, which is exactly what I think this movie is.
Being very unfair.
A good TV movie, but nothing better than that.
It's much better than a good TV movie. Well, it's much better than The Day After, which was a TV movie.
Well, that's not saying much for
We're going to open my envelope now, and let's see who I voted for.
Okay, maybe you voted. No, you didn't. You voted for Deborah Winger for Terms of Endearment.
It was a real hard decision, but I did decide on Deborah Winger this year, although this is obviously going to be the most difficult category to choose from. The 5 actress nominees are so strong, they were in such good roles, that any of them could have been a favorite in a lot of other years. And I'm picking Winger because she did such a brilliant job of playing a three-dimensional character over a period of years. We see her change in terms of endearment, from being a kid to being a mother. We see her facing the fundamental issues of life and death, and we see her developing a set of strong humanistic convictions in the midst of a very confusing life that she leads. Here's a scene where she takes a personal stand during a phone call from her mother.
Okay, Mother, I need some money. I need you to loan me some money. I really and truly need it, so will you? Oh, Mother, please don't be quiet. You know how hard that was for me to ask you. You can say no, but please don't be quiet.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetheart. I was just thinking.
Thinking what?
How much I hate to part with money.
Well, I wouldn't have asked if... Don't yell. But I really think that I may be pregnant again.
Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no. And you're going to have it, I suppose.
Yes, of course. What's happening to you anyway?
Oh, don't act like that's so terrible, Emma. I keep hearing about lots of bright young women who are having simple abortions.
Simple?
And then they get wonderful jobs. You can go right across the state to Colorado and have it.
I don't know why I tell you anything. I mean, I seem to like you less and less. Well,
you know why, Emma? It is because I am the only person who tells you the truth.
Go get dressed.
Go get dressed. And you can feel all the impatience there and all the motherly love. And you can see in that conversation, which is just a little bit of a much larger and very complicated movie, what a beautiful relationship that is. And on her part, the exasperation, the love, the impatience, also the body language as she handles that telephone call.
Oh, you know what I was amazed at? Just technically, when she goes, simple, you know, but she's a simple, soft, and what a powerhouse little actress there is there that's just ramming that sandwich in her mouth after saying simple. It's very good.
And what a character, and what a complete character from birth until death in this movie she plays.
All right,
and
well,
I'll never forget her, and let's see
if I went
who
the same way.
You will never forget. This is your choice. Shirley MacLaine in Terms of Endearment.
Yeah, this is real toss-up time. I'm picking Shirley MacLaine maybe because it took me such a long time to figure out who her character was. I like that MacLaine maintained the mystery so long and didn't, in a desire to have us like her, make her character into just a lovable old gal. Here's another scene involving her not coming to grips with her age at her birthday party.
You're the best.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Laura.
Thank you. Do you want one, Vernon? Would you like a kiss?
You're not lying about your age, are you?
Of course not.
I thought you were 52. She's really 52. Come on, Aurora. How do you expect to fool a family doctor?
It seems to me she said her age.
Vernon, thank you.
My point is, the number doesn't matter, but the effort to conceal it does.
See, why does he keep talking?
Dr. Ratcher. Damn it, I'm trying to do some good here. Now, the way to adjust to old age...
Doctor, I think you're might confused because of being recently widowed and all.
Oh, that's really nice. First, when she says, why is she talking, and she directs it not to the guy who's doing the talking, but to her friend over there. And then the whole thing with the shoes. Those are actresses' choices, and she makes terrific choices all the way through this scene. That scene begins in comedy and ends with some real emotional longing. She's going to seek out a relationship now. I just don't know how it could have been done any better. And that is a scene that doesn't have a lot of dialogue in at the end. That's when I think an actor is really working without the safety net of other actors around or other dialogue. It's just her body, her emotions, and for me, Shirley MacLaine's Aurora Greenway is a performance of an actress's lifetime. It is a magical performance.
It is a magical performance, so then in that case, why would I prefer Deborah Winger over Shirley MacLaine?
Okay.
And I think because, in a way, it's Winger's movie. Shirley MacLaine gives one of the greatest, almost co-performances that I've ever seen, but at the same time, it's Deborah Winger's character. It's her birth, it's her death, it's her growing up, it's her children, family, marriage, told against a background of relationships, including the one with her mother.
Now, this is why this movie is a big hit. It is a big commercial hit.
Because everybody fights about the same thing.
No, because people don't know who the center of this film is. If you were to ask me if I had to pick, I'd have to say it's Shirley MacLaine's movie. Yes, I would. I'd have to say that it's her movie all inside of her head and how she is going to deal with this woman. Winger is young, her character is young, and she can be flexible. This is about somebody inflexible coming to grips with how she's going to conduct the rest of her life.
We are going to continue this conversation because we're going to borrow a page from TV Sports. We're going to use something called an instant replay, and we're going to analyze scenes by our best actress choices, by Shirley MacLaine and Deborah Winger, to help show you why we think they should win the Oscars, and that's when we come back. And now, if this were football instead of the movies, what we're going to do next would probably be called an instant replay. What both of us are going to do is take another look at a scene featuring our choice for the year's Best Actress and then tell you, shot by shot, what a critic thinks about when he's looking at the screen. Gene starts with Shirley MacLaine.
Okay, let's look at that MacLaine birthday party scene again. Forget the dialogue. Let's focus only on Shirley MacLaine and how clearly she shows what's going on in her brain at every single moment.
You're not lying about your age, are you?
Of course not.
I thought you were 52.
She is now under attack there. She is feeling real pain there. It's like she's almost having a heart attack when she's confronted with her age.
My point is, the number doesn't matter, but the effort to conceal it does.
Now she's getting ready to make a move. The pain is building up, and she's going to throw one guy off while looking at another. She is now coming into her own.
Doctor, I think you're might confused because of being recently wedded and all.
In a moment now, she's going to show just how old her character feels. You're going to see her body sag. MacLaine uses her body beautifully here. Here comes the sag. There. She is taking off her shoes. This is interesting. She's getting closer to earth, getting off her high heels, making up her own mind. She uses those shoes, showing what the tension inside of her head is like. Now she looks at her suitors. They're sort of cornball. So she shakes her head. What is she doing with them? And now she's going to go visit Jack Nicholson, the guy she really wants.
Aurora.
Really fine acting there. Again, non-verbally and in the dialogue scenes, showing how old she is. I really admire this performance.
It shows that there's a lot more to acting sometimes in little scenes like that than we realize. And the scene that I've chosen from Terms of Endearment with Deborah Winger is a scene like that, too. One of the basic scenes in all of acting is the telephone scene, where you see one person talking on the telephone. And the problem for the actor is to sound as if they're really talking on the telephone instead of as if they're reading dialogue that they already know is going to be written for them. So in this scene, I want to watch how natural Winger is when she talks on the telephone.
Don't yell. But I really think that I may be pregnant again.
Looking away as she says that, and then looking up, where'd that sound come from when her mother is shouting? It must have come from the sky. She puts her hand on her hip. She's not afraid as an actress to look like a slob here. Look at that, with a dirty bathrobe and the old T-shirt, looking a little bit pregnant. She's not afraid to look like somebody who's been up all night wondering where her husband was, and now it's morning. She hasn't had any sleep. Now look at this food. In other words, what's so simple about it?
Colorado and have it. I don't know why I tell you anything. I mean,
Now
I've seen
watch this now when her little boy comes down the stairs.
You know why,
Just a second.
It is because I am the only
And she stopped listening. She stopped listening because she's saying, go get dressed. And the nice thing about that is, even while she's talking to her mother about having this abortion, the movement in her body, go get dressed, what she's saying, I think, with her body language is, I've rehearsed this 100 times, I've been on this stage before, I know that you came downstairs, I know you didn't get dressed, I know that I'm a mother, you're a child, and I'm going to have this baby. It's real nice.
A nice reading of a very simple line. Coming up next at the movies, the 5 nominees for Best Supporting Actor. There's one big star in the group. We'll give you our preferences.
We had our show. I was a swan.
Really? Then you got a right to chicken done right.
I make it tender, juicy, every bite.
I make fresh hot biscuits
And tasty fresh coleslaw.
You got it right to chicken done right. Nobody makes chicken like we do with the Colonel's secret blend of herbs and spices.
It's finger looking good.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, we do chicken right.
Here's a trash bag like no other. The new Glad handle-tie trash bag. One snap, you've got 2 handles. Just tie them together to close the bag tight. No twist ties to come off. The handles are tough, too. So this bag does a lot more than just hold the trash. This bag helps you get a handle on it. Real sensible. The new Glad handle-tie trash bag makes that long haul to the curb seem shorter. Get Glad handle-tie bags for your kitchen, too.
Last year, over 2 million people got something of a surprise in the mail. Their first taste of NutraSweet, and of all things, a gumball. What's NutraSweet? It's a sweetening ingredient that isn't fattening. A sweetening ingredient that isn't artificial like saccharin, isn't bad for your teeth, tastes just like sugar, and sounds just too good to be true. That's why we mailed out all those free gumballs.
Howdy, Marge. What you got with NutraSweet?
Taste it for yourself in products like these. NutraSweet, the sugar-free taste of sugar.
The supporting actor category is always a tricky one. That's because it's not always clear who is supporting whom in a movie, and often the roles are of vastly different sizes. But before we get into that, let's review the 5 nominees. Charles Durning, a popular character actor, played a bombastic Nazi officer in Mel Brooks's comedy To Be or Not to Be.
Führer, now how does it go? Oh, yes. They named a brandy after Napoleon. They made a herring out of Bismarck. And Hitler will end up as a pickle. A pickle? Yes, because he is such a sour puss.
I don't think that's very funny, Colonel. I don't think the Fuhrer will find it funny. Do you think it's funny?
No! I hate it!
Also nominated as Best Supporting Actor, Sam Shepard in The Right Stuff, playing jet test pilot Chuck Yeager, the first man to break the sound barrier.
So, do you think you want to have a go at it? Might. But since, as you say, this sound barrier doesn't really exist, how much...
How much you got? I'm just joking. The Air Force is paying me already. Ain't that right, sir?
Well, sure, Yeager, but...
So when do we go?
Also nominated, Rip Torn, an often underrated actor because of his strange name, playing a proud backwoodsman in Cross Creek, complaining to Mary Steenburgen, who shot his pig.
It's practically a pet. You can catch it with your bare hands.
Oh, I wouldn't have had the pleasure of shooting it.
What's wrong? I don't want to disturb you, ma'am. I went around and talked to a lot of your friends. Even Norton here assured me you're not the kind of woman that would have shot my hog.
And Jack Nicholson took the male lead role, I think, in terms of endearment, playing a comical ex-astronaut.
A few years back, you invited me to lunch.
A few years
That's
back.
right, and I wondered if the invitation still exists. Would you like to? To lunch. Not dinner, remember it was lunch.
Why not? No.
Good. When?
Tomorrow.
And the final nominee, John Lithgow, playing a shy Iowa banker with a surprisingly strong backbone, defending Deborah Winger, caught without money in terms of endearment.
Can I help you make up the difference here?
Thanks. I'd appreciate it. I'll pay you back tomorrow.
You're a very rude young woman. I know Douglas from the Rotary, and I can't believe he'd want you treating customers so badly.
I don't think I was treating her badly.
Then you must be from New York.
That is one of the funniest lines of dialogue in any movie this past year. I wonder how it plays in New York City, but it gets a laugh there, too. Let's get to the ballots. I have your ballot here for Best Supporting Actor, and you choose Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, it was a great performance. It was, I think, one of the best performances of the year in any category, and so he would be my choice. And
what I think.
I have Gene's nomination, which is sealed with
preference,
permanent glue here, I'd say. Best Supporting Actor, Jack Nicholson, also.
Okay, yeah, we both picked Jack Nicholson, even though I don't think he belongs in this category. The husband of Deborah Winger, played by Jeff Daniels, and the banker she falls in love with, played by John Lithgow, are the true supporting actors in this film, not Nicholson's character. As I said before, I think he is really the male lead. But he did the best work of any of the 5 nominees in this category, and I'm not going to penalize him for it. Maybe the Academy, not him. I love the way he takes over the movie in the very first moment we spot him in the picture.
Why not come on in then?
Because you're much older than the boys I date. Because you're drunk. And because when I went there tonight to see a United States astronaut give a lecture, I didn't expect him to prowl after us all night long. I didn't expect some silly flirt who had to keep his jacket open because his belly's getting too big. I expected a hero.
Okay, Doris, don't come in. I don't want you in my house. Leanne, would you like to come in?
You better tend to that cut.
Oh, he is something else. I think the only other actor who could do that scene that well, and would be years ago, Clark Gable, which means I am really praising Nicholson to the skies. His entire performance is a lesson in movie acting, because it's a performance in big close-ups. It's a real comedy classic, this performance, echoing Jack Nicholson's work in Easy Rider 15 years ago when he was so funny, and The Last Detail a decade ago when he was also so funny. You know, everyone thinks of Jack Nicholson as a stud. He is one of the funniest studs ever to appear in the movies.
And in this movie, he's one of the most complicated, too, because although at the beginning, and that's practically the first time we see him in the film, he is the patented Jack Nicholson character. He's got all of the lines and all of the oily, greasy charm and all of the kind of insinuations and so forth. Later in this film, it's interesting how his character tries to fight against that stereotype and to move a little bit toward accepting this Aurora Greenway as a woman that he can he can accept rather than just these two girls in the car. It's interesting, that kind of development.
Now, what about my claim that he is not a supporting actor?
Well, I think he probably is a lead actor in this film, and I'll tell you why. He's one of the characters in the movie who changes, just like Aurora does, just like her daughter does, just like her daughter's husband does. He changes too, so that makes him one of the people I think that the movie is about.
Okay.
Next at the movies, our choice for Best Supporting Actress, if we were picking the Oscars. Our next category is Best Supporting Actress, and in this category there are 5 very different performances in 5 very different movies. Let's start with Amy Irving in Barbra Streisand's Yentl. Irving played the kind of domesticated girl that Barbra Streisand didn't want to be.
When Alvador used to call it, I sometimes spilled things. I don't know if you ever noticed.
No, never.
It's because he made me tremble. Inside.
That's love, it does.
But you don't make me tremble. You make me peaceful.
Our next nominee is Glenn Close, who played one of a group of college friends from the 60s who are reunited at a friend's funeral in The Big Chill.
I feel like we should have had a chair for Alex. Of course, you don't have enough food, but... This is all so familiar, and I love you all so much. I know that sounds gross, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't.
I feel like I was at my best when I was with you people.
And Linda Hunt in The Year of Living Dangerously played a little Indonesian photographer named Billy Kwan, who had inside connections for journalist Mel Gibson.
If you could get any interview you wanted, excluding one with Sukarno, who would it be?
Leader of the Communist Party.
I did. I'd get you to him tomorrow.
He doesn't give interviews.
He does when he needs to.
Alfre Woodard played Mary Steenburgen's maid in Cross Creek, and she admires and cares about her employer.
But you a woman, and you live by yourself, and don't nobody take advantage of you. I've been watching how you do it. That's what I want to be like.
The last nominee is pop singer Cher in Silkwood, playing Meryl Streep's lesbian roommate.
The only thing everybody says I'm crazy about is to live with you. You mean with a dyke? I mean with a person who thinks she's in love with a person who puts lipstick on stiffs and smells like formaldehyde. It smells like formaldehyde.
Surprising performance by Cher, who has just about laid to rest her image, I think, as a pop singer. And now I'm going to look at your choice, if you were picking in this category, and you would choose for Best Supporting Actress Linda Hunt from The Year of Living
I think she did a
Dangerously.
terrific job. She also benefited from having a large role in that picture, not just a tiny one, and that
That's
always
right.
helps. And so I saw more of her, and that's one of the reasons I'm voting for her.
And
Who
my
did you vote?
choice?
Same thing, Linda Hunt.
That's right. And I'll tell you why I would like Linda Hunt in this category. First of all, I want to make one thing very clear. I do not prefer her for Best Supporting Actress just because she was a woman playing a man. It wasn't just a stunt. She did what actors are supposed to do. She created a real, living, breathing, three-dimensional role. It was one of the most fascinating characters I've met in the movies in a long time. And in The Year of Living Dangerously, both Mel Gibson as a journalist and Linda Hunt as little Billy Kwan are in love with the same woman. And now Billy feels he's been double-crossed, both romantically and professionally.
I would have given up the world for her. You won't even give up one story.
It's not just a story. Damn it, it's the bloody story. Now, can't you understand that?
Don't you understand? You've lost Jill.
What have you told her? You
I
told her
gave
something.
her to you, and now I'm taking her back. Do you understand?
You gave it to me? For Christ's sake, you mad little bastard. You think you can control people's lives just because you got them in your bloody files?
I believed in you. I thought you were a man of light. That's why I gave you those stories you think are so important. I made you see things. I made you feel something about what you write. I gave you my trust. So did Jill. I created you.
The photographer Billy, played by Linda Hunt, is just a little dynamo at the center of this film, and it's interesting because he kind of hero worships Mel Gibson, yet at the same time has a lot of ferocious pride and believes that after all, he has to get some respect too, and also has to be consulted in connection with this woman that they both
It's
love.
a terrific performance because this movie is about Western journalists misunderstanding Oriental culture, and so the ambiguity of this face, forget if it's a man or a woman, just the strange face is mirroring exactly what the point of the whole film is about. I credit the director Peter Weir for casting Linda Hunt. Coming up next at the movies, the big one, our choice for the Best Picture of the Year. Time for the big one. It's time for the best picture of the year. Let's take the 5 nominated pictures one by one, beginning with The Dresser, a backstage drama about a demanding actor and his loyal but bitter valet. Also nominated, The Right Stuff, the 3-hour epic of the American space program with the Mercury 7 astronauts being used on occasion as public relations tools. Another nominee, The Big Chill, a big popular hit. College friends brought together for a long weekend following the suicide of the most idealistic member of their group.
Oh, I remember he left that caseworker job in Boston. That was, what, 78 or so?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why he was doing that. And the guy was a scientific genius. What the hell was he doing welfare work for? And then that construction job, what was that all about?
He didn't know what to do.
I can relate to that.
So what do you think? If you'd been in touch with him, you could have saved his life? You have that kind of effect on the people in your life? Keep them all jolly, do you? Wise up, folks. We're all alone out there, and tomorrow we're going out there again.
And Tender Mercies was nominated as Best Picture, telling the story of the spiritual rejuvenation of a country singer.
I'll do all the things that didn't matter yesterday, and I'll be everything this man can be before I start. If you'll just hold the ladder, baby, I'll climb to the top.
And the final nominee, the best-selling movie of the bunch, Terms of Endearment, with a mother and daughter learning to become friends.
Well, your mother's really been looking forward to this, too. So, go ahead.
Anything wrong, Derek?
No.
It was very nice to have met you.
Must be nice to be home, huh?
Oh, it's great. It's great. I'll be over later. They're probably tired anyway and will get to sleep early, and I'd like to get to bed early.
Okay, it's getting late. Let's get to the envelopes.
Okay, Gene, now, a few weeks ago, we both picked the same film as the best film of the year. I wonder if we also think it ought to win the Oscar. What do you know? The Right Stuff.
Yes, that was my favorite film of the year, and I'm glad it was nominated, and I think I know what this should be. You haven't changed either. The Right Stuff.
The Right Stuff. I liked it very much. It's a combination of an outer space action picture, a historical drama, and a political satire. And here's a scene involving the original 7 Mercury astronauts. Now, they're sensitive about charges that they'll simply be passengers into space and not pilots, just spam in a can. And here they demand more control over their flight capsule.
Where are you planning on putting the window? Window? There's no window.
No window? What about the hatch?
The hatch?
Yeah, the hatch. We need a hatch with explosive bolts that we can open ourselves.
I think there is something you do not understand. This is the final form of the capsule. No hatch.
What would happen if the automatic controls went out?
Backups, checks, etc. This would not happen.
I said, what would happen if it did?
The pilot would have to fly it back.
This is the way it is.
You know, I wonder how the press is going to feel about this.
Press? What does the press have to say about this?
Yeah, what do they have to say about it? Well, do you boys know what makes this bird go up? Funding makes this bird go up. That's right. No bucks, no Buck Rogers.
There are so many good moments in this movie, from politically charged scenes like that to little human moments to great special effects scenes. I thought it was a great movie. I think it should win the Oscar, and that's what I think no matter what anybody else
I know
thinks.
what I feel the exact same way. I picked this picture over the other ones. There are other good pictures on this list, but I picked this one. It tried to do the most. It was also the most visual of any of these pictures, in addition to telling a great story of how things get done in America, how the media enters into all of this. A terrific political documentary.
Very ambitious, right.
Coming up next at the movies, the stinker nomination of the year, the most undeserving Oscar nominee.
This is an apology from Ford Escort to Fred's Garage, now Fred's Produce. To George's Friendly Service, now George's Video Arcade. And to all the other garages and service stations that have gone on to better things. But how are we to know that when we engineered Ford Escort to be fuel efficient and to require less scheduled maintenance than any leading Japanese import, it would come to this? Have you driven the best-built American cars? Have you driven a Ford lately?
As a little girl, calcium was important for growing bones. Through your teens, calcium helped make bones strong. As a woman, bones still need calcium to stay healthy. If you don't drink enough milk, a prime source is gone. Add new Caltrate to your diet. Caltrate, with nature's purest, most concentrated form of calcium. More pure calcium per tablet than a half quart of milk without the calories. Caltrate, calcium for healthy bone.
Now here's someone who won't be invited to the Oscars, but he's all dressed up in his little black and white fur tuxedo. It's Aroma the Educated Skunk with our choice for the Stinker nomination of the year. This is the least deserved Oscar nomination, and we agreed on Charles Durney, nominated for Best Supporting Actor, in To Be or Not to Be, the Mel Brooks comedy.
Yeah, I can't believe this. Our choice is in one of the big categories. I don't think Charles Durney's performance as a Nazi officer is really worthy of an Oscar nomination, especially when I can think, and I know Roger can, think of so many more performances more deserving, starting with Jeff Daniels, that young actor who played Deborah Winger's husband in Terms of Endearment. Think of it. What did Charles Durning do in this picture that Werner Klemperer didn't do every week on TV's Hogan's Heroes? Not much in my book. Take a look.
May I take your coat? Certainly. Thank you. Get down, Professor. Thank you. Thank you. Can I offer you a cigarette? No, thank you. Cigar? No, no. Chocolate-covered nougats? Chocolate-covered what? Nougats.
Now, if you think that performance is funny, which is debatable, it's only because of Mel Brooks' funny dialogue, Nougats. Charles Durning does nothing but read the line. This was a nothing special performance, a stinker choice by the Academy, in our opinion.
It was a mystery to me. I can think of a lot of nominations that would have made more sense, such as All the Astronauts in the Right Stuff.
How about All the Guys in the Big Chill?
All the Guys in the Big Chill, or Jeff Daniels in Terms of Endearment. That's it for this special edition of At the Movies, and we will see you at the Oscars on April the 9th.
Raisinets, the plump, juicy raisins covered with delicious milk chocolate. Enjoy America's favorite movie time candy at home or at the movies, Goobers and Snowcaps, too. United Corporation of America, manufacturer of Extendaphone, meeting today's communication needs with a full line of corded and cordless telephones. United. Clorets Gums and Mints, the breath deodorant, helps your mouth's own freshening power eliminate bad breath. Costs a little more, but it's worth it. Clorets, the breath deodorant.